Hey, on this episode, I'm going to be talking about the content repurposing strategies that can get your content, your message, and your offer in front of those new raving fans that you're creating, growing your business even when the economy is in a downturn. I ran marketing departments in corporate America for 10 years and then ran a digital agency for over another 10 years. So I know the roadmap to online success, and that formula always includes producing content to share your message, from your marketing message to sales and delivery. Hi, I'm Jennifer Neal, and you're listening to the Content Toolbox. I believe the secret to finding and creating raving fans online is through you. In building relationships through stories that share who you really are, create genuine, crazy, raving fans that keep begging you to take their money. And on this podcast, we'll be talking strategies, tactics, tips, and more with myself and other industry experts. So buckle up and start your engines, because it's go time. All right. Hey there. Okay, here we go. We are going to be talking about content repurposing. So there are a lot of thoughts around this. Over the last year, the idea of content repurposing has become this thing that everybody's talking about, total buzz generating, and you can take one thing and get out on all these different social platforms, which is totally true. And there's some really awesome models that people have done. In fact, earlier this year, this is 2020 when I was shooting this, and earlier this year, Steve Larson and Peng Joon even did an event before Funnel Hacking Live where they both talked about their content repurposing strategies and how they were getting all of their content out, right? Super awesome. So it's things like you start from one core recording, whether that's it can even be a blog, it can be a video, it can be a podcast. Doesn't have to be any one medium or the other, right? Most traditionally, you start from a video and you do all of the research and the keywords and all that stuff like that so that video can live on YouTube, because YouTube is a search engine, right? So we've got the YouTube search engine, which is owned by Google and increases your Google rankings. Then we want to take and transcribe that and turn it into a blog post. That can be with show notes, with the YouTube video. It can be a rewrite of your transcript, some form of a written version of your message, right? So you're going to turn that into a blog post. That helps with your SEO, your search engine optimization on your website, and again with your Google listings. So if you don't catch anything from all of that, catch the word Google. That's important, right? In order for people to be able to find you and hear your message, they need to be able to find you online, right? Google. Google is important. Do it. All right, so then traditionally that same thing is turned into a podcast, because you're sitting here listening right now. People listen to podcasts, especially when we're doing other things. So we can literally put it in our ears, be learning something while we're multitasking, working out, daily chores, going for a walk, whatever the thing is that you're doing. And it's easy to just take the audio out of a video that was shot or do a voiceover of a blog or something like that. So you can turn that into the audio. So now you have hearing and reading and watching. So you're hitting all the different senses, right? And with new podcast releasers, you can get your podcast then out on Google Play and iTunes and things like Medium and Spotify and everywhere. So all of a sudden, when people are on Spotify goofing around and they're like, oh, I want to check out what podcasts are going on, you can come up even in their music binge listening. So that starts the content repurposing. And then from there are plenty of tactics where you can take that core content thing that you just created, and then you're going to pull out little snippets and bits and quotes and shorten it down and a synopsis. And there's tons of different ways that you can repurpose that information into different social posts. So those social posts can then live on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn. If you wanted to pull out some little video things, you can even do some TikTok action. Wherever your market is, you can actually reuse the content that you already created and splatter your message out across all those different channels, right? Sounds amazing, sounds completely ideal, and sounds like something that we should be doing for our businesses. Yes, yes, and yes, absolutely. Also, probably can sound a little bit overwhelming and maybe a little daunting. And for those of you that have actually sat down and tried to do this, it can be very frustrating because there's a lot of moving pieces and things that all have to come together. Having run an agency for so long, this is one of the things that our clients asked us to figure out, and I did. It totally failed first couple of times, finally figured it out, right? But the thing is, like, you literally have to take your content and basically pull it apart and create all those little different bits and pieces and snippets and all those things, right? And then you have to put them back in together in a way that makes sense for each social channel that it's going on. Because the post that you're gonna put on Facebook is not gonna be written, formatted, whatever, exactly the same as the post that you're gonna put on Instagram, right? So you end up with all of these different pieces that have to get juggled and balanced. And there are a lot of people that get put in place of doing this, right? So I know, I mentioned Steve Larson and Peng Joon did that event. And I know Steve talked about his machine that he's doing. They are creating pretty much all of those things. And he is on, I know he's on Facebook and Instagram at least. I'm not sure about the other channels because I haven't been stalking him there. Sorry, Steve. So he produces 2 podcasts a week. And I think he's actually increasing that now to 4 a week. He mentioned at the event that his cost for his content machine is about $12,000 a month.
What? Whoa.
That's a lot because he has an agency doing the Facebook stuff, and he has, you know, this different writing company creating the writing stuff. And like, I don't even really want to speak for him, but I know that he has a lot of different people in place to create the videos and to create the Instagram posts and all the different things that are happening, right? And that's the thing, is it can get really expensive. And then you still have to have somebody that's kind of coordinating all of these pieces, project management, social media manager, whatever the term is that you want to use. You have to have somebody that's kind of coordinating everything and then making sure that stuff gets posted when it's supposed to get posted and all of that, right? It is totally doable. And this is the way my brain works, and running an agency, this is the shift that we're going to. So if you've listened to any of the previous episodes, you know that this is actually the focus that we are focusing on. Now, there are a lot of companies out there that are specializing in doing done for you content, and any of them that come up, we are actually running through and personally vetting, and I'm giving a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever the case may be. You can find that resource on the content toolbox and little reviews of how those services work in terms of my opinion. A lot of them are really economical. Give it a shot, you can try it out. But if you're trying to take this in-house, it can be super overwhelming and frustrating to look at, oh my gosh, I have like 50 different posts that I'm gonna pull out of this one tiny episode. How do I coordinate all this? How do I come up with the design? What do I talk about? How do I create all those different posts? What size do they need to be? When do I post them? Where do I post them? It can become like so overwhelming, and all this noise of like technology frustration and just total overwhelm that we get stuck and frozen in place and we don't actually move forward and do the things, right? So that is why I took the system that we created for our clients and that we ran, because I know it works, right? So I took all of that and put it into a course. And that course lives online. You can go buy it anytime, run through it. If you have a small team, you can run your team through it, right? It's something that you can just keep going back to. Okay, now how do we take and redo, how do we create all that, the copy part that we need, or how do we work on the design part or create animated GIFs? And then one of the things that I really realized that I don't like about a lot of the just straightforward content repurposing is that when you're putting this content out on social, it should be social, right? And go look at one of the previous episodes here. I'll make sure it's linked in. I talk a lot about the difference and like what's the thing in repurposing that makes you actually create engagement. But really that thing is talking about you, the behind the scenes.
Let's talk about me.
So go watch the other episode. You'll see a whole bunch of examples that we talked about there. The point is that in order to really create that part of it, it needs to be something that you're controlling, whether it's an internal team or a team that you are hiring in various different aspects to say, this is the system I want you to follow. I want you to use my story, my message wrapped around, here's the core content or the interview that I did or whatever it is that you're repurposing. So there's actually kind of like two different sides of the story, because if you're building that attractive character and you're creating that engagement, like real true social engagement online, that has to be you and not just a how-to or a teaching moment or that kind of thing. So that information needs to be treated a little bit separately, and especially in terms of how you're posting it, where you're posting it, right? Those are the strategies that I've wrapped into this course so you can understand how to treat those two things and how to use them to your benefit. So that is the course. Now, what we also have is that course turned into a masterclass. Because what I found is when people are going through this, there's oftentimes a lot of questions, especially when companies are getting the course to put their teams through it so that you can literally say, all right, I just hired a VA and a part-time design assistant, right? So I want them to learn how to do this system, but I don't want to have to try to train them. Great, put them through the course. So that's exactly what we created it for. And so we have companies that are building these internal teams and using that process to get all of the content multiplication out there, or the repurposing, whatever we want to call it, right? But to get it all out there and it's in the same consistent way, so you know as a business owner exactly what's happening. You're only recording that first initial video, but you have a reference for them to be able to go to. So the masterclass version is the most popular version of this course because we're taking all of the course steps. I've broken this down into 6 steps. We do the masterclass every 2 months, so we've got time for Q&A and like tech inspection. Make sure that you guys are getting exactly what you need for your business. And we're walking through each of these steps live together. So you can bring your team in. We have live Q&A so you can get your specific questions answered, and it becomes a much more personal and accountable. So you can actually say, okay, I know I'm gonna put these people in place, and in 2 months, I've got a team that's completely trained on how to do this process, right? Go team! So that is the toolbox of how most small businesses are taking this process and putting it inside of their own internal structure to be able to get all of your content out there in a way that's economically and resource smart, right? We're making the best use of the resources that you have, and the people you don't have to hire rock star social media managers and designers. It's literally just like, here, follow this process. So that's what people are loving. And then what some companies have been doing is taking that even to the next level, where we have a consultant kind of version where we're actually taking everything that we just talked about with the masterclass and are learning that entire process. But instead, I'm actually getting involved and I'm looking at how are you actually producing content? What are you doing consistently or willing to do consistently? And then let's tweak this entire system so that it fits exactly your needs. Are you producing 2 Facebook Lives per month? Are you producing 2 podcasts per week? Are you doing more? Are you doing less? How many posts do you want to have on different social media channels? And so we actually look at this entire system together and customize it specifically for your needs. So then all of the checklists and the templates and all of that stuff gets built, customized to your needs. Then I help to find the right resources, either inexpensive part-time resources that we hire and put in place, or actually help to hire new team members if you want. So I actually help you put all of the right people in place, and then I train them on your customized process. So it becomes a completely done for you internal content production machine that is doing so many amazing things for companies. They're able to take this entire system and run with it, but aren't getting into the overwhelm of who am I gonna hire, what pieces am I gonna put in place here, and make sure that each of these people are doing the process that I want, right? So this process has been really, really cool, because I mentioned earlier that Steve, love his content. He's doing such amazing things. And like you said, he's spending about $12,000 a month, at least at the time that he did that event. Then I actually have companies that are putting this in place now for similar type of content. And we are looking at the same kind of spend that you would be hiring an ad agency for. And that's just the ad agency part, not the ad spend, right? So we're getting so much more organic reach and organic traffic put through this entire content cache machine that's happening, right? That you own, that's your team, your internal team, or the resources that you have hired and trained, or I've trained for you, that then for a fraction of the cost. Like, we're literally putting this together right now for companies anywhere in the $2,000 to $5,000 a month range. And the kind of traffic that it's generating is absolutely amazing. And that's exactly the reason that other people who are doing content repurposing strategies, I mean, look at Gary Vee, and I already mentioned Steve Larson. There are so many people successfully doing this exact same strategy. But here's how you can do it for a fraction of the price without having to learn how to do everything, and without having to actually hire and train the people yourself.
That's smart.
So that's the models that we are working on here at Formula Done. And you can find information about that at the content toolbox. You can also go to itsgen.com or any of our social platforms on itsgen and find out more information about any one of those different models wherever you may fit. But get in there and start reusing, be smart about the stuff that you're already creating to get your message out there more. Because when you do that in a smart way and you're creating those engaging fans and you're increasing that traffic, your business is gonna grow no matter what that economy looks like. So get in there, get it done. Let me know any questions that you have. And I so look forward to seeing you on any of our Facebook groups, or just take a screenshot of where you're watching here, post on one of the social channels, and I will respond back. Thanks so much. Until next time. So we're gonna talk about content repurposing. Ready? Oh my gosh, the dog is going crazy outside. Recording, oh, okay. All right, I think I actually got everything all together here. How's my hair? Good, good? As good as it's gonna get anyway.